Hey everybody. All right, I had to go close the blinds. I'm using a whiteboard today, which you might not be able to see. But here's the thing. Uh, it's okay because if you actually go out and save the blab, hey everybody, oh my gosh, thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me. If you actually go and save this blab after it's posted and you expand this on your desktop, you'll be able to see it bigger. So unfortunately, I didn't have a black pen, but I want to talk about the human needs in B2B storytelling and I think B2B is ready for change. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me. We know that it's all about the human need. Great marketing is great storytelling. We just don't see a lot of that, unfortunately, in business to business, and there needs to be. And it's starting to change, and I'm excited about that. I'm really happy about that. So let's talk about, I want to just talk about a couple of ways to think about, hello everybody, right back at you. I want to talk a little bit about ways, some quick, easy ways to think about the human need in business storytelling and how to sort of go a little deeper. And then I'm happy to take some questions. If you got questions, comments, I want it to be interactive. And I think I'm going to do another Periscope tomorrow that's just pure comedy. I will do a 185. It's a suggestion improv game, and I'll take suggestions from you. So I'll talk more about that later. So we're going to do some comedy stuff tomorrow. So let's dive right into the topic and talk about it. I think too many stories just end at, well, they bought our product, we were the hero, and we helped save them money or make them money. The end, bye-bye. And that's a really, really crappy story. It's a bad story. There's no emotions. There's nothing about the larger human need. Sure, it's great that we're able to make money and save money for our customer. That's really important in a business capacity, but you're still dealing with a person. And that person sitting on the other end from you who made a buying decision to go with your stuff feels maybe that their credibility is on the line. If you don't do your job, they're not going to look good. There's a human need driving all of that purchasing. So I want to just refresh our memories with the hierarchy of needs. So don't worry if you can't see it. Again, you can save it from the blab that'll record and then blow it up on your desktop. But you know Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It probably haunts you in your sleep if you're a marketer, because we all had to like memorize it back in school. But it's a really important concept, which is really, there's 5 layers. And even in B2B, every human being, I don't know that that's necessarily true. I think that it does apply even to business, and I see a comment here, and if I'm understanding you correctly, I think it does apply in B2B, and here's why. Because those relationships aren't just about saving money and making money, yes, but if you're selling to a buyer and that buyer isn't sure you're going to make them look good or bad, they have a personal reputation and credibility issue on the line. It's not just about the economics of moving their business forward. It's about their own personal security and reputation. That's a human need. So you're selling at 2 things. Yes, I got you. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. It's hard to do online sometimes because I miss context. So I see what you're saying. Yes, okay. Thank you. It is a sell. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, sometimes it's hard talking and not seeing people's faces and being able to talk live, but thank you for clarifying. It is important. So, you've got your physiological needs at the bottom. You've got your safety needs, and a safety need is also security, like job security. I want to know that I'm safe and secure in my job, and that you're not going to mess that up for me. So it's security physical, but it's also psychological security, employment security, things like that. Then we've got the 3rd layer, which is community and belonging and love. And everybody wants to feel like they're part of a community and they belong. So important. Tribal identity is super important. If tribal identity didn't matter, you wouldn't see people joining groups online. You wouldn't see people joining in discussions. That need to belong to an identifiable tribe is a really, really powerful human motivator for all of us, everybody. Esteem needs at the top. You guys know that, you're marketers. Respect and recognition by others, credibility, visibility in an organization. So that buyer that you're selling to wants to feel like they made the best decision and you've made them look good to their organization. You've got to speak to that really, really fundamental human need, especially if they feel some risk in bringing you on to solve a problem. Understand that there's a very personal human need operating and they're thinking, please don't make me look bad. Make me look like a hero to my organization. And then at the very top, self-actualization needs. things like wanting to be creative, personal growth, personal evolution, all these different things. Things like independence and mobility and freedom and freedom. That's a really important one. So why do I bring this up? All right. And again, I apologize, it's a little hard to see, but when you save this from Periscope, I think I said blab earlier. See, you know I'm doing too many things when I use them interchangeably. But you can download this from Periscope and blow it up. So here's why it's important. Your story at the end of the day shouldn't just speak to the economics, again, the saving money and making money. It's got to speak to one of these human layers. So how do you know if your story passes that sniff test? Really easy. Is it clear what human need that story speaks to? Because if it's not clear, you have an opportunity to go back and make it really emotionally cohesive for your audience and have that stick. Go back and make it much more clear. I'll give you some really good examples. I think about B2B storytelling today, and I was reading a really good article from Marriott. Marriott has invested heavily in a content studio, and they're creating a lot of content. But they know it's not about being in a hotel. Who cares? It's not about the hotel. It's about the hotel experience and the freedom of travel for a lot of people. And is that going to be a good experience or a bad experience? So they speak to independence and freedom and mobility of travel. So now you know that your big story has to talk about that, and so does the content you create, because it's not about your hotel. It doesn't really matter. I talked to a bank not too long ago, and this is really interesting. Actually, it was they have an asset department that actually does investing, so they help their members invest. But if you just say that your story is to make your customers better investors, well, every bank should do that. Every financial services firm strives to do that. You're not differentiated. But what they found is that a high percent of their members actually was interested in philanthropy, and they were interested in saving money so that they could invest in social causes. This is important, because now you know nobody does banking because they care about banking. Nobody cares about banking. What they want is the financial freedom to do what they really want to do. So now you can create content around financial freedom, about philanthropy, of living your mission, because you have the financial assets and wherewithal to go pursue that. And we help your dream come true. You speak to their passions, you speak to their why. Exactly. You're speaking to their bigger passions. So find out what they're passionate about. Speak to that. So the bank realized we're not in the business of making them better investors exclusively. They decided what their big why was making their members better people. And so they started creating content around philanthropy, around social causes, around the arts and arts education. And it was a big hit for this bank, because they realized, well, they can become better investors everywhere. That's what every bank does. Not so differentiated. Really, really great example. If you look at Qualcomm today, Qualcomm's come a long way, and they're a really interesting example, because there's nothing really all that exciting necessarily about mobile this and mobile that. But think about, again, the freedom and mobility that being mobile affords you. So now, if you think about yourself as being in the mobile business of allowing people to access data anywhere, they don't have to be behind a desk. It's freedom to access data, data independence and mobility. That's a bigger why. You're empowering people to live their lives wherever they are with a mobile device. That's the business you're in. Now you open up all kinds of content. You can talk about what it does to your brain, what's the cognitive relationship between going mobile, the freedom, how you might use some of the mobile technology to do things you want to do. All these different kinds of things become possible because you defined a bigger mission. So even GE now speaks to a bigger, higher why than just saving money and making money. So you'll find that the companies that are on the vanguard of actually doing some really interesting B2B storytelling are hitting our good old friend here, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And it's such a simple thing, but it's a really important one. So go back and ask yourself, and when you're working with your clients, where are you in this pyramid, and is it clear? And if it's not clear, then your why, as somebody said earlier, absolutely right. I forget who it was, but thank you. If you go back and have them clarify their why, that's where good content starts. And if their content isn't hitting, it's probably because the why and the passion isn't connecting for users. There's something there that they're not talking about, and they maybe aren't aware. So make sure your why is very clear, whether it's freedom, mobility, independence, visibility, credibility. We're human beings, and that's what we really want when we buy a product. We don't exist to buy your stuff. So if you can speak to these things, you'll be better off. And make sure you are speaking to the passions of your audience. Find out what that is. Really find out. It was really interesting. I was talking to some folks in the ride sharing business, a big ride sharing company. You can probably guess who it is. And what they found is that a high percent of their audience has pets. Well, how cool is that? They love pets. Now you can create content not only around that, but you can tap into their love of pets and create content around what it means to be sort of a Gen Xer or Gen Y person today, to be without a car because you don't need it. And what does it mean to have passions on the weekends around your pets and stuff like that? So you're tapping into their passions. And that's a really, really important point. Lyft told me, I had a conversation with Lyft, and Lyft told me the other day that this is a really important statistic, that there's an average of 1.1 people per car in LA. Now, if they could move that needle from just 1.1 to 1.3 people per car, they could eliminate LA traffic congestion. That's huge, because that data point right there speaks to livable communities, and they're passionate not about ride sharing. They're passionate about livable communities, and part of making a community livable is cutting down on traffic congestion. So that's a bigger why. And now you can create content around that and around your community's passions for livable communities. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. There's so much more to it, but I just wanted to remind everybody of the importance of just really going back and making that human. So if you got any questions or comments, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for all your comments, and thank you for clarifying that. I really appreciated that. That helped. So if I can answer any questions, let me know. You can always email me at Kathy@keepingithuman.com. I'm going to do one of these Periscopes tomorrow, but I'm not going to talk about business stuff. We're going to do a comedy one. I'm going to take your suggestions live. Cheers! And I'm going to do a game called 185. You're going to give me suggestions, and I'm going to do some 185 jokes. 185 reindeer walk into a bar, and the bartender says, "I'm sorry, we don't serve reindeer here." And the 185 reindeer say, "Well, fine, we'll just be prancing on out of here." It'll be corny, it'll be bad puns, but it'll be awesome. So thanks for joining me today, everybody. Happy holidays.